Hello. Today's book is nonfiction. It is by Whitney Webb, and it is called One Nation Under Blackmail, the Sordid Union Between Intelligence and Organized Crime That Gave Rise to Jeffrey Epstein, Volume 2. Now, this is quite an extraordinary read. Actually, I didn't read it. I listened to it via audiobook, and it is indeed an extraordinary piece. I read volume 1, but I happen to have this Audible membership right now. I don't know how I'm going to get out of it. It's sort of like a tar baby. Once you get into these Amazon things, they're hard to escape. At any rate, I listened to it in audiobook, and that was pretty good. It was very well read by some woman. I don't have her name right at the moment. It was great to listen to it that way as I went about my business, did this and that, went to the gym, things like that. Audiobooks, I think they're better for me for nonfiction than fiction, listening to a story, kind of trying to keep track of a particular plot, story, characters. I don't think that works very well for me with audiobooks because I'm not a driver. I think maybe the monotony of driving with just like the road to look at and nothing else to distract might be better for fiction and audiobooks. But that's not my kind of life. I'm out walking around, I'm in the gym, walking around the city, which is distracting, and I just can't keep up with the story. I tried that with Jonathan Letham's new novel, Brooklyn crime novel, and it just wasn't a pleasant experience. Plus, I didn't like the reader. Anyway, One Nation Under Blackmail, Volume 2, we really have, after Volume 1, we really have Jeffrey Epstein on the scene now. He is much more functioning in the story than he did in Volume 1, which is kind of the background setup to this whole kind of structure of intelligence and blackmail and big business and rich people and the sordid sex. Now, if you look at maybe some of the documentaries or mainstream press accounts of Jeffrey Epstein, he can often come off as more of like a single shooter in the Kennedy assassination, like a lone player, like he and Ghislaine Maxwell, kind of just bad actors on their own, without bringing in the whole structure that was around them and supported them and was involved in quite similar things. And that's what Whitney Webb brings to us with her book that is, expansive, extensive, and ties to this person, ties to that one. It just goes on and on with stuff like this, and it's somehow it's hard to doubt her research on this to be accurate. For one thing, when you look at documentaries, I've seen some where Ghislaine does not meet Jeffrey until her father is dead, and she comes to New York. But according to Whitney Webb's book, that is not the case at all, because the dad knew and Robert Maxwell and Epstein knew one another, and they were both working for similar kind of intelligence functions, way back when, before really he died or was off or whatever happened to him. He off of his yacht, and then Ghislaine enters the picture with Epstein in New York. But there's a whole backstory of them being together, as well as a lot of stuff about Maxwell and his, he was a bad actor. He was he was along, there's arms dealers everywhere going on, illegal arms dealers going on in this book. hither and yon, and Maxwell was involved with that, as well as selling this Promise software, this buggy Israeli software that used for spying purposes on mobile computers, mobile digital devices. Also Clinton and Trump, all these people. Bill Clinton is very much involved with Epstein. Epstein helped set up his first Clinton Foundation or whatever, and also he was involved with setting up the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, because he was supposed to be this money genius, as well as all the stuff that went on with Leslie Wexner. Talk about sleaze. We have this Leslie Wexner who has this mansion out in Ohio, and he's the mogul behind the sleazy shops of Victoria's Secret, and so there's a part where they go to the Victoria's Secret's annual fashion show, and all sorts of stuff about the modeling industry, and how Epstein is involved with the modeling industry, as well as the Dalton School, as well as some art schools in New York, a New York Art Academy. I'm sort of involved with the art world in New York, but I don't know about that school. I haven't worked that school. I'm an art model in New York. But I know people who have. So it's a much deeper dive, is what I have to say, than the common reports. I'm kind of at a loss to summarize it all, because it is so complicated, and it is so deep, and involves so many people, and powerful people. Toward the end, we have Ehud Barak, who was Prime Minister of Israel from 1997 to 2001, is also very close to Epstein, and very close to some of the things that Epstein was getting involved with at the end of his life, as well as more of these spy software things. And toward the end, Whitney Webb talks about how in a way Epstein was sort of the early kind of blackmail, where you had to get really videotapes of the people. I guess they're all blackmailing each other. So they lure each other in with these young sex slave women and so forth, and then record each other or whatever. It's how there's blackmail. And now that is becoming less necessary to go through all that, when you can have software that you can get all this material hacked off of people's phones. All their data, all their pictures, all their conversations with other people, all these other means of blackmail and skullduggery. So it's quite an amazing read. I recommend it to anyone who's interested in Epstein and Ghislaine, the sort of amazing case of those two. Which on their own, they are, without all this other structure around them, how she would go out and how they would recruit other young women to find more young women and give them a bounty for the ones that, even the ones that he wasn't necessarily having sex with, could be used as recruiters. There's a couple of women like that, young women like that, who were used by him to bring in other young women who he could have sex with. And, I guess that's the fatal flaw of Epstein, that he was, kind of taking the drug he was selling, he was so much involved with the sexual obsession himself that is ultimately what brought him down. Where if he, was just kind of backed away from it himself and had other people do it, and when whoever he was working for, Israeli intelligence or CIA or whoever was sheltering him, and whoever, big business, whoever he was ultimately working for, had he kept a little more tidy and not just be such a insane, horrid, sadistic, basically, user and addict of these women, he would have, he could have gone on a little bit longer and not been offed in jail. The whole how he died is all quite murky. She didn't really go into that all that much, but how he ended up suicide in prison was, of course, now the story is not completely over. We still have Ghislaine Maxwell in jail. She seems to not be talking. We haven't had that much release of other material. We've had more occasional releases of other people who were on the flight logs. Woody Allen and Chris Tucker and who else? Oh, I think even Chomsky is brought into it a little bit, as being at MIT, and because Epstein was involved with the science projects. His science projects was ultimately he was going to start. He was into genetics. He was going to impregnate a bunch of these women and have his superior genes go on, all that these kind of fascistic dictatorship male triumph scenarios that these guys go through, these kind of power broker dudes who are into this kind of stuff. So I as I said, I don't have that much else to say about it. You can see Whitney Webb on YouTube in some videos talking about all this. Maybe I'll put a link in the description to one or two of them, and you can see her for yourself. She's a very young woman who has some children and lives in a foreign land at this point. And I wish her well, and it'd be interesting to see what she comes up with next, if she can continue with her researches and her writing and her uncovering what's really going. If there's no more, if this is her life contribution to the story of power in the USA and the world, well done. You can rest after this one. It's amazing work. One Nation Under Blackmail by Whitney Webb, Volume 2. Check it out.